Hello, and welcome to the Mountain Mystic Podcast. I'm your host, Katie Hemphill, and I'm so happy to have you here with me today, whether you are brand new to this show or you've been hanging out with me for a while. Welcome to you to today's episode where we get to continue to play around a little bit, have some fun, and also make time to dive into what I believe is to be some quite serious work, some very important work, especially given these wild times that we live in today, these times when, yes, we have so much space, so much opportunity to be playful, to experience all the different ways we can get creative and experience this world. And also a time where I believe it is of utmost importance to ensure that we are present, we are engaged in what's unfolding here in our realities, whether that's our internal reality, our external reality. And as we play in the space, what we get to learn is how these two are much less different than maybe we've been taught or we've come to believe. This work that I'm speaking to these days as embodiment work, embodied, being ever more present in and as one's body, as part of the many, many different aspects of oneself. So if you're here with me today and you want to, again, maybe you're just getting started, or maybe you've been here with me for a while, but what we get to do today, again, speaking to this word play, I love to explore, get curious, have some fun, and also get serious as we learn and grow and transform. And as I'm speaking these words, what I'm realizing is these words are really speaking to the energy that I want to bring you today. So basically what's happening is I'm sat down to record a different podcast for you today, and I'll be recording that one after this one. It's a podcast focused on stillness, on inner stillness, outer stillness, how we play in the world of stillness, which is traditionally a very serious, very masculine type practice in the spiritual world. It's certainly the first, sort of meditation practice I called upon, say it's kind of what lured me into this whole world, this idea of inner stillness, and how outer stillness versus movement plays into that. So I have a whole episode for you on that, and I'll be recording that next. But as I sat down to record that, I was kind of reminded of this other sort of energy that I want to play with. And again, play, this word that I just love because it's so lacking in our world and this serious adulthood that we found ourselves in. But it's so important. It's so important, yes, because it brings joy, it's fun, it's exciting, and also because it's a great way to learn. It's a great way to learn very real, very important lessons. It's a great way to transform ourselves into hopefully, holding this intention and really holding ourselves to it, better versions of ourselves, and better, being a very general term that we need to be careful with, but better in ways that, I invite you to spend some time getting really clear on what that means to you. We're not going to do that here because speaking once more to this fact that there is a very a very particular flavor of energy that I want to work with you with today. And I'm so lit up about it because, well, what this energy is, and if this sort of word, sort of way of working with energy or different ideas, different concepts, different practices, if this flavor, the word I'm about to use doesn't really resonate with you, that's okay. Words are just these little constructs that our mind uses to help us grapple with reality, make sense of reality, work with reality. So if this whole framework doesn't resonate with you, I invite you to, just be mindful of that, but maybe also, not let it deter you from what's here, because what's here is something that's truly powerful. And if we can, invite in the right words that help us reach what we're trying to get at, and if we can be mindful of the language, the frameworks that other people use that maybe don't quite resonate, but still offer opportunity to get to a place, that could really be of value. Again, just, taking a moment to hold space for that. And I invite you to call upon this for today's practice, for today's episode, but also as you move through life. Language is such a triggery thing these days, and maybe triggery isn't the whole of what I'm trying to say. Like, yes, it's triggery, but it's also off-putting sometimes when someone uses words that don't quite resonate. But maybe in these moments, there's still something powerful that could be gotten at if we could just let go of our attachment to needing to have the exact words that precisely meet the framework that resonates fully with ourselves. Maybe there's some space to open up to another framework, another, sort of languaging that again, if we could be open to, maybe we could meet each other a little bit better, more fully, in a way that we can get to the heart of what matters. So anyway, a little aside there before I bring in what I want to work with you today with is the energy of Sagittarius. And I did that whole, speaking to this word because for a long time, working with anything in the zodiac, anything in the stars, like I was so turned off by it. It just wasn't a framework that made sense to me. But then I started doing this work that I teach today, and I found it to be really powerful. And then when I learned about, how people have been working in this space for a long, long, long time, and they've had different frameworks, different ways of speaking to it, working with it. And one of those is the zodiac, and this Sagittarius sign. Well, I'm so lit up about it because, one, we are deep into Sagittarius season right now, and also because I happen to not only be a Sagittarius, but I'm something like a 7x Sagittarius. If you look at my chart, it's like, most of the charts I look at, other people share theirs, and it's like, you have these lines going in all these different directions, and maybe you've looked at a birth chart, maybe you haven't, but it's like, you have a sun in one sign and a moon in another sign and a north node in another sign, and maybe planets in different signs. And there's, going to be some overlap with planets. But then you look at my chart and it's like, why is everything pointing to Sagittarius? Like I was born into the world and the stars and the planets aligned, and just everything points to Sagittarius. And it's something that I spend a lot of time sitting with. I've asked a whole lot of teachers, like, what does this mean? And we're not going to unpack that now. But what I want to speak to is If you've ever, had any part of yourself, and maybe it's an unconscious part of self that's like longing to work with Sagittarius energy, well, you got a 7x Sagittarius bringing it through to you today. So if that sounds fun or curious in any way, inviting you into this playground. Come spend some time with me, hang out in this energy. And again, I already brought some words to it. I pointed this out just when we opened this podcast today. This energy that is playfulness, that is exploration. Sagittarius is this arrow, right? And I think even people who aren't really familiar with this type of framework know, the Sagittarius is the adventurous one. They're the one off climbing mountains and exploring the world. And if you know anything about me, that's what I'm up to. This Sagittarius fire that just fuels me to explore, to adventure, to get to know this world in this expansive, this ever expanding way. Like, what new experiences can I call in? What ways can I push myself so that I'm expanding my own limitations, my own bounds? This expansion piece that I think is often the number one thing people think of as a Sagittarius. And that piece is so important, right? Again, it sets so much of the foundation of who I am and what I bring to all the work I do. And also within that is another energy. And this is the one that I really want to play more with today. I talk about how there's this really fun, exciting energy of the Sagittarius. And there's also a really serious part, for people who know me well, they'll tell you that I am a deeply serious person. And in a lot of ways, I've had to really grow into that playful, adventurous nature of myself. But deep down is this seriousness. And what this has to do with is this very Sagittarius word that is truth. What is true? What is true in this moment, in this world, in this reality that we live in? What is true? And as I say this word, I invite you to feel how that lands in your body. Truth. Maybe say it out loud to yourself a few times. And as you do, really feel how it lands in your body. The word truth. Say it out loud and feel down into your body. And I do feel it down in my body. It's kind of makes its way down through my chest, down into my guts, down into my root. And it's very deep, deep feeling down in self. Truth. What is the truth? What is your truth? What is the truth in this reality that we live in, on the ground we stand on in this moment? Truth. So I want to share this little story about self for you, my own self. Something I've learned for my own self as a 7x wild Sagittarius, this fire arrow racing through the ethers. As I spent so much of my life, being that arrow flying through the air, is fueled by this intense fire to chase down big ideas, big dreams, big goals, to let my heart be filled with fire as it illuminates. Like, where do I want to go? What do I want to do? And feeling into that heart fire, that spark of illumination, that guides you? Where do you want to go? What do you want to do in life? So I'm someone who, from a young age, listened to that. I let it guide me. And as I've let it guide me, it's not like it's just leading me in one direction. I'm someone who's always has like 5 or 10 different big projects going on. I have my climbing projects, I have my ultra running projects, I have my business projects, I have my writing projects. It's like all these adventures, and letting those fires within guide me. Like, yeah, this is exciting. This is what I want. Let myself be fueled as I let myself go in these directions. And so I lived my life in this way for a long time, where I let these fires consume me and push me in the directions that, this is one of those places where it's hard to put words to, and it's easier to direct you into self. Feeling into those fires within. Maybe you feel it in your heart, maybe you feel it in your guts, maybe it's deep down in your root, like these fires, feeling into them and feeling into that drive, that desire to expand, to move forward, to explore, to adventure. And with that, the mountain coming into mind. The mountain, what mountains to climb. Mountains, they're hard work. You're going to be tested, but there's something at the top, this desire, this goal, and it's this fire that burns for this. But not just for that, for the whole adventure. Like there's this burning. Yes, please let me take those steps in that direction. So there's an important lesson I learned about climbing mountains, the literal ones and the figurative ones. And it's this lesson that has everything to do with how we let that fire within consume us and direct us. So how do you let that fire within consume you, direct you? What is the behavior of the fire that burns within? So we're weaving around a little bit. I'm poking at this energy with different ways of getting at it. So if you're tuning into the fact that this isn't like a linear unfolding of a teaching or a story, I invite you to settle into this space and to let my words ping you in the way they will, to open up different ideas, different knowings in your own mind, to spark different feelings, sensations, energies in your body. Right? We weave in this energy, weaving through story, through teaching, and that's so not often linear in the way I do things. So inviting you to go with the flow here. There's a reason I work in the way I do. And it's not so that you get a clear picture, that you walk away with a clear understanding in the way exactly that I wanted you to get it, but for my words here to spark something, to awaken something, to bring you insight, to maybe even start to transform you simply through being present here. As I continue to speak to this energy. So when you're climbing a mountain, literally or figuratively, right? So the mountain, there's an adventure, there's a goal, there's something that you have decided is worthy of your efforts, right? Climbing a mountain requires effort. This isn't like working with a river where you can go with the flow of it, relax, release into. The mountain requires effort. It requires a will to keep moving forward as different obstacles, different challenges arise. And there's this thing that happens when we say yes to this type of journey up a mountain. We say yes to moving forward along some type of journey because we know there's something here for us. We know there are joys to be received. We know there are lessons to be learned. There are gifts, there are treasures, there are hard-earned experiences. And all the while, there's a fulfillment. There's a fulfillment in this journey, a filling. This journey is here to fill you up. And again, calling in this Sagittarius framework, right? This concept, this word, this idea, this Sagittarius, right? This yes to a trip up a mountain. It's this expansion. Let this journey expand my views, my understandings, my beliefs, my way of being in this world. Let this journey expand me. But how is it that you are being expanded? How is it, that you as this fire arrow rushing forward through the ethers? Where are you going? Is it somewhere that's actually skillful? Is it somewhere that's actually aligned? So there's this time in my life, started happening a few years ago, where me as this fire arrow flying through the air started to feel the effects of the burning. And in this expansion, started to feel myself thinning. And waking up one day, feeling torched, burned, dried out, this desert landscape. And with it, a knowing that I had let my own fires within burn out of control. I'd let those fires within burn out of control, and along the journeys I'd been on, having been consumed, overtaken by the fires, had, yes, achieved a lot. And also, in doing so, did not feel that fulfillment, did not find myself standing on solid ground, but instead that thinned out, burnt, charred inner worlds, inner landscape, empty, like the fires had come through and just burned away. And again, externally, I was doing some awesome shit, you guys. I was pushing it as an ultra runner. I was climbing harder than I'd ever climbed. There were other parts of life that, were fiery, that were damn, But in letting these fires burn out of control and, shall we say, climbing mountains that maybe weren't meant for me to climb, the results wasn't standing high atop a peak, looking out on a spectacular, beautiful landscape open to possibility and more excitement, but instead more like a free fall. The ground came out from underneath me, and all that was left was fire, consuming me fire. And this is, the shadow of working with an energy that drives you forward, that drives you up the mountain, that drives you to adventure, to want to achieve. This is the shadow of being fueled by fire. If you're gonna work with fire, you damn well better be skillful. And you damn well better ensure that you are working hand in hand with that fire, and that fire is not here to control you. And I speak to this energy. Because as I know it so well as an energy that so deeply characterizes me as the 7x Sagittarius that I am, I also recognize that this is an energy that is so alive in our world. These fires burning out of control. This world filled by well-achieved, powerful humans whose desires are driving them in a way that is consuming our world with this unskillful fire, and our world burns because of it. Our forests, our landscapes, they burn. They are destroyed. And internally, what's alive within? This anxiety, when I characterize anxiety, something that I know so well, something that my generation knows so well, it's this airy fire. It's this fire that is burning out of control. And anxiety is really this complicated thing, but getting to the essence of it, it's this fire burning out of control within. And it gets up to the head, the mind, and it's just makes it so that we cannot stay grounded, focused, present. And it burns down within in a way that's just so unpleasant. So unpleasant. And how many people in this world are walking around with chronic anxiety, right? That's now a norm. So in my own anxiety built, and I'm holding the word anxiety loosely here now and starting to morph it into other labels, but this fire burning within, this very airy fire that then also grounds down in our depths as we burn out. And this we can maybe more characterize as a state of depression. This very earthy fire just like burnt out that desert landscape, that dry, dead dirt. So this fire that rises up consumes us, this anxious energy, and this fire that burns down into our depths, into our own grounding, takes away our grounding, burns too hot. This is sort of the internal landscape that we're speaking to here. When the fires of our world, when the fires of our lives burn out of control, consume us. So how do we work? How do we work in this space to ensure that we are working with this energy with skill? How do we work with fire? How do we work with this Sagittarius energy in a way that is skillful so that we can expand, grow, transform in a way that does bring us joy, does bring us fulfillment, and keeps us grounded? Keeps us grounded in a way where we are connected to life. We are connected to planet Earth. We are connected to the flow of life as it keeps us energized, as it keeps us moving forward. The juice in life. How do we do this? How do we work with this energy in a way that we can expand and we can stay grounded, and we can stay aligned in what is true. What mountains are yours to climb? What is true for you to experience? What is true for you to know? It's a question with an answer that no one else can answer but you. You, your own self, in tune with your inner fires, your inner truth fires. And this is a practice that I want to take you into. This is a practice where I'm inviting you to get more deeply focused, to, let go of distractions, to find a time to do this where you can be grounded, still present, focused for this practice. And if that's not where you're at right now, I invite you to just listen along, try it out as you are right now. But I do invite you to find time to really give this a focused, present attention. So here we are. Let's get started. We're going to work with each of our own inner truth fires in this embodied practice, this sort of guided meditation. So inviting you to take a seat, whether that's seated in a chair with your feet on the floor, seated cross-legged on the floor, or on the couch, a cushion, somewhere where your seat, your root can be in connection with a physical surface. And that's where we're going to get started, is really bringing our full attention to that connection with the surface holding each of us here in this moment. So bringing your attention to your root and feeling into connection with your seat, with your sits bones, just bringing some curiosity here, just what's alive in these very subtle sensations and the connection with the surface holding you here in this moment. Calling upon your breath, starting to breathe deeply down into your body. And let's start by breathing a few breaths into the chest, breathing a little bit more deeply down into the belly, and taking your time to do this, but eventually breathing all the way down into your root. So with each breath, going deeper down into your body, breathing deeper down into your body, and eventually breathing all the way down into your roots. So breathing down into that physical connection with the surface holding you here in this moment. And I'm going to give you a moment here for a few breaths to do this in silence. Breathing deeper down into your body, going all the way down so that you are breathing deep down into your root. Now, from this space, what I invite you to do is to bring your attention, your awareness just a little bit higher. So for me, it's this area right below my navel. But what you're going to do is bring your attention just a little bit above your root. And what we're doing here is we're looking for those internal truth fires. So what we're doing is staying present, staying so present. You just did so much work to bring your presence fully into the depths of your being. So staying here, calling upon your breath to help you stay here. As you stay focused deeply here, what you're doing is looking for those internal truth fires. So it's a fire. It's your own internal fire, but it's a certain flavor of fire. It's your internal truth fire. Another word, another phrasing here that might help you is your soul fire. The fires in your depths, this truth fire, this soul fire. Finding it in your body, becoming present to it. Once you have it, even if it's just the teeniest of an essence of it, even if it's just the idea of it, of latching onto it, bringing your full attention, your full focus to these internal truth fires, and with the power of your consciousness, with the power of your breath, bringing life to these fires. So maybe you are deep in your breath, maybe you bring a little bit more energy to your breath, maybe you deepen your focus, but I don't want you to bring like too much here, right? We want this to stay focused. I want this to be a practice of you have this pinpoint focus on these fires as you're breathing life into them, as you're bringing consciousness to them. This practice isn't about fueling fires in the way you might like fan a big fire to get the flames growing, reaching, roaring. That's not what we're doing here. It's more like you have these hot coals, this like seed of a fire that's burning hot within. And you want to get so focused on it, so in tune with it, that you're igniting these fires, but in a way where we don't have flames shooting out. Like when you breathe on a coal and that fire within lights up. And maybe you get a little flame sparked here and there, a nice little gentle fire going, emerging so tenderly from these hot coals. And feeling into that imagery, these fires within, get to know them, become present to them, become in tune with them. And know that you are not separate from them. This is the fire that lives within you. This is the fire that burns as you. This is your internal soul fire. So just another moment here to be present with your soul fire, with your inner truth fire. Maybe asking here, as you are so deeply connected in this space, if there's anything, any experience to unfold here. Maybe there's something that your inner fire wants you to know, to show you. Maybe there's something in your life, a mountain you've been climbing, a goal you've been chasing, that your fire is here to tell you, like, yo, this is not for you. What are you doing? Why are you chasing after this? Or maybe there's something within you that's been trying to speak to you, like, hey, there's a journey up ahead that's just waiting for you and it's calling for you, but you're not willing to give it your attention. But here now, as you're so deeply connected, now, please give me your attention. Let me show you what this journey is. Let your own inner soul fire light up this journey for you. Maybe there's something else here that your inner soul fire wants to speak to, show you, illuminate for you. Just giving yourself another moment here, knowing you can come back to this practice anytime you want. But for now, letting it come to an organic close as you start to Maybe expand your breath a little bit. Maybe breathe back up, up through your body, up into your solar plexus, your chest, your shoulders, maybe down into your hands. Maybe start to rub your hands together, rub your hands across your skin. You start to bring in some movement into your body. Taking your time to come out of this practice. Finding yourself back in the room that you're in. Pressing pause here if you need more time to come back. Giving yourself the time to come back. We're going to close out this podcast today by giving a few more words to this practice, to this energy, your inner soul fire, your inner truth fire, how to work with it, how to let it be your guide in life so that you can find yourself running or dancing or walking or moving in whatever way you do up the mountains that are meant for you. And letting go of all the rest, being able to say no to the journeys, the adventures that show up, that call to you, that spark a fire within you, but really are truly not meant for you. Not meant for you in this soul-aligned way. Not aligned for you in a way that is aligned all the way down into your depths. Yes, your heart can burn with a fire. Your mind can burn with a fire. Different parts with you can burn with a fire, but is this fire aligned? Mind and body, heart and soul, these are the journeys that we want to say yes to because there is so much for us here. As we take those steps, as we effort our way through the challenges, as we release into the flow of what is here for us, what is here waiting for you on the journeys that are showing up for you in life today, these next weeks that are so aligned for you, body and mind, heart and soul? And are you willing to say yes to these as you let go of all the rest? I recognize that I'm bringing this through as 2024 comes to an end. You know, we have the new year coming up. There's a whole lot of new energy. The winter solstice is coming up, and maybe you're listening to this after the fact, but really I'm just speaking to, you know, the power of new beginnings, the power of, you know, whatever it is, a winter solstice or a new year, or for me, I have my birthday this week. There are all these opportunities in life to stand on new ground, to let the old die away, this old way of being, these old experiences, these old journeys, that old mountain that I was climbing that I thought was so important, but now I'm realizing it's really not in alignment. You know, the power of letting the old die out, which, yes, is challenging. It brings grief, but the power of letting the old die out to make space for the new. And inviting this Sagittarius energy, this way of being, to be a part of your life. Yes, I know the Sagittarius part of the calendar is starting to come to a close, but you know, the zodiac isn't here to be like, we can only work in this space when we're in this particular part of the calendar, right? Like, that's not the way it works. It's always showing up for us in different ways, whether that's in astrology, if that's something that speaks to you, or maybe it's direct experience in your life. You get invited to go climb a mountain. Do you say yes? Do you say no? Well, come to this practice. Come into this energy. Is this mountain truly for you? So with that, I'm going to leave you here today with this invitation from this 7x Sagittarius here in the heart of Sagittarius season. My gift to you: take this practice with you, take this energy with you, wherever you are in life. Call upon it as it serves. Let it take you to the most beautiful, most spectacular of places. Let it take you on journeys that fill you up, that transform you in a way that is so in alignment with your path, that brings more light into your life, that brings more light into this world. My gift here for you in this season. Let me know how it goes for you. Let me know how this practice went for you. Let me know how you're going to take it with you into your life. Let me know what unfolds for you as you do take it out into your life. Okay. So much love for you guys for being with me here all the way through the end. If you are all the way with me here through the end and you want to go deeper into fun, exciting, creative, playful, yet powerful, very serious matters type of practices, I have an event for you that has it all. Head over to stillness.forestbody.com. You'll learn more about it there. If you want to dive straight into the paid Stillness Speaks program, a program for you that I have for you to hang out with me all winter long, to cultivate inner stillness, to cultivate a meditation practice so that you can deepen into and explore these magical realms. Head over to upwardslopes.com/stillness speaks. Of course, all those links will be in the description. All right. Once again, I thank you so much for being with me here today. I look forward to catching you in whatever the next space is that we find ourselves in together.